If you want to succeed as a new manager, you need to stop trying to fix everything in your first month. After over 3,000 hours coaching managers, many of them at Fortune 500 companies, I can tell you that the managers who rush in and make their mark in the first weeks, they're the ones who struggle the most. I recently worked with a manager in her 20s at a global manufacturing company who was promoted to lead a team of men in their 40s and 50s with decades more experience than her. She was terrified, deer in the headlights. She felt like she had to prove herself immediately by changing things, showing her value, making an impact, but she was intimidated. Here's what turned everything around for her. She did the exact opposite. She stopped trying to change anything. She spent her first month just observing, asking questions, and building trust. And within 90 days, her team wasn't just respecting her, they were championing her ideas and supporting her success. So, in this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 critical things every new manager needs to know before they start at a new company, in a new role, or a new division. And I'll show you the mistakes that will cost you credibility. I'll also show you the strategies that will position you as a trusted leader from day one. Tip number 1, don't expect to know it all. Leverage your team's experience. You've climbed the ladder because you were the expert. This is management now versus IC. It's a completely different game. What you're trying to do is multiply results through. Most new managers prove themselves immediately. Your job is not to be the smartest person in the room anymore. Your job is to leverage the experience around you, the expertise around you. Reverse mentoring is actually the way to go. It's real and it's powerful. There was a guy at a company that I was coaching. He was only there for about 3 months, and he was managing people with 14 or more years seniority. He pretended to know everything. And this started to give him imposter syndrome, for one thing. He also made enemies, and people watched him drown. What went wrong is that he tried to flex his expertise instead of asking questions. What he cost is credibility. He lost team support and he became isolated. The much better approach is show me how this is done here. Walk me through this. Ask questions, and you don't have to apologize for that. Right? The CEO wouldn't know how to do your job. I mean, think about the undercover boss. Frame it as learning the company's way, not necessarily like, I don't know, right? You don't have to admit ignorance. Your team wants to share their knowledge. It makes them feel valued, secure. And that's really important these days. So, why this matters so much is that moving up is scaling up, right? Going up to management is a big change. You're no longer paid to execute. Like, really take that in for a minute. You're no longer paid to execute. You're paid to develop your team so that they can do more and they can do better. Tip number 2, own it from day one. Even if you had nothing to do with it, you are walking into situations you didn't create. Maybe there's a mess, maybe there's tension, maybe there's a failed project or two, but that's why you're there. Your natural instinct is going to be to distance yourself from that. Blame your predecessor, maybe. Explain that it's not your fault. Do just the opposite. Take responsibility immediately. Even if you had zero involvement, it's yours now. No exceptions. And here's a point that I want to make that's really important. Never speak negatively about your predecessor. Do not deflect responsibility. You are modeling the behavior that you want to see from your team day one. Your team is watching how you handle accountability. If you blame others, you're teaching them that it's acceptable to do the same. You're a lot more visible now. Just remember that. So everything you say sets a standard. What you really want to do is acknowledge past efforts with respect. And it could sound something like, this is mine now, and here we are. So how do we move forward? There's no looking backward unless it's a constructive postmortem on a project. That's a little bit different. Focus on constructive solutions, though. Forward motion, not explanations. So here's the predecessor rule. Even if they were fired, even if everyone knows they failed, even if you're brought in specifically to fix their mistakes, show respect for the person who came before you. This demonstrates professionalism and it builds trust with everybody around you. So I'm going to give you a real world example of a bad approach. Well, people, I had a good look at everything here. And to be honest, I'm not surprised we're not the market leader. There's a lot that needs to change. That's the bad approach. You don't want to say that. The good approach is I see the challenges. I respect the work that you all have done to date. Now let's talk about where we want to go next. Do you hear the difference? It's huge. So, tip number 3, don't make immediate changes. Observe first. You were hired to improve things, right? Everyone expects you to have a plan. The pressure to make your mark is intense. You see inefficiencies everywhere, but the first 30 days at a minimum, observation mode only. At senior levels, some of this has to stretch to 90 days, but we can talk about that. Change under the best of circumstances is going to get you resistance. It's just human nature. You have no relationship equity yet, 0. So remember that before making any changes. So here's why patience wins. You don't know the unwritten rules yet. You can't always see the power and decision-making dynamics. Your team might be change weary from previous reorgs. You don't know that yet, right? So here's what observation mode looks like. You're going to map out the organization so that you get a grip on who's who. You're going to learn who decides what and why. You're going to try to get a feel for the culture, the hidden agendas, the unspoken agreements, and ask things like, how did this process come to be? And listen for context. Hold off sharing your opinions. Keep asking questions. So I'm going to tell you about the small wins strategy. Focus on building trust first. Okay, rack up some quick, low risk wins. And your team will be happy to tell you what they want to change. So take those and consider those. You're going to create tailwinds for future changes instead of creating headwinds for yourself now. So I was coaching a manager in her 20s in a manufacturing company, and there were cultural and seniority differences. She was Latina. Her team was white American men, all of them over 40. What she did is call a meeting and offered transparency instead of changes. So she said something to them like, I respect your experience and I need to lean on you. I'm asking you to mentor me in areas I have no experience. That shows vulnerability. Vulnerability is a strength. Let me know in our one-on-ones how I can support you. And later, tell me about some of the changes that you'd like to make and the things that you'd like to do more of. And when I seek your opinions on decisions, just know that I'll be the one making the decision, but I really want your input. It's really important to me. So the result for her after a meeting like that was huge stress relief. Her team stood together with her and she established authority. Without forcing change, she started building equity in those relationships from day one. So the real question is for you, what appetite does the team have for change? What have they experienced in the last 3 years? Are they change weary? I mean, get the lay of the land before making moves. Now, before I give you the final 2 tips, if you're starting a new management role and you want my help creating your specific first 90-day game plan using the exact framework that I've used with Fortune 500 executives, click the first link in the description to book your free strategy call. That's it. Now back to the video. Tip number 4, introduce yourself. Strategically gather the team and focus on them. We talked about the intro, right? It's super important, and here's why. Most managers rely on one-on-ones to introduce themselves. The problem with this is that it takes weeks to schedule everyone, and this creates an awkward silence in the gap between people. So the first person you meet downloads everything to everybody else, and this creates a bias before you've met everyone else. So gather your team immediately, bring them in. Don't wait for the announcement email or the one-on-one sequence. Keep your intro brief, then flip the spotlight to them. So this works because it models your authority immediately. You're convening them. It shows you're also communicative and you're transparent, and it demonstrates that you care about their concerns. You're also giving them the respect of your time and attention, and it prevents rumors and misunderstandings from spreading. Remember, they're critical to your success. Acknowledge that up front. What you might want to say if you're in a new company, it's different if you've moved up in the same company. You're going to do a brief self intro, your name, years in the industry, previous company and experience, your previous role, but then switch to why you're excited to be there. What interested you in this company, in this role, or in this team's reputation? Acknowledge the reality, right? What challenges have you heard about that really intrigued you and brought you in? Open the floor to Q&A, dispel rumors, address concerns head on, let them talk. What's on their minds? What do they need from you? So, the psychology behind this is that people fear the unknown. You're a new manager, and that equals uncertainty about their future. The faster you create certainty and connection, the faster you build trust. This isn't about impressing them, it's about seeing them. So, here's what not to do. Don't launch into your vision or your plans yet. Do not talk about all the changes you're going to make. Don't make it about you and your credentials. Don't skip this step and go straight to work. Missed opportunity. So, tip number 5, focus on the results, not the process. Avoid the micromanagement trap. You were hired because things need to change and you knew how to do it. You knew how to do these things. You were hired because you knew how to do things exceptionally well. You look at your team and see inefficiencies everywhere. You know a better way to do almost everything that they're doing. The temptation to control is almost overwhelming. Your job is to focus on the outcome, getting from A to B, not the process, at least not right now. If the quality of the work is acceptable, you can make process improvements later. Worrying about how means that the micromanagement train is in full steam ahead and you don't want to be on that train. Trust me. Why this matters is that you have to trust that how they've gotten things done is good enough for now. Your team has institutional knowledge that you don't have yet. Imposing your way creates resistance and resentment. You want ownership and accountability, and micromanagement kills both. So here's what you focus on instead. Set clear deliverables and deadlines. Define what success looks like, quality standards, timelines, stakeholder satisfaction. Check in on progress regularly without hovering, though. You want to remove obstacles that they flag and address quality issues right away, not your way versus their way. When process does matter, it's when there are behaviors that violate company values. You got to address these one-on-one. If there are compliance and risk issues, these are non-negotiable. Team dynamics that are toxic, this requires an intervention early. But how someone formats a report or structures their day, just let it go. Here's the team charter approach, and you might already be familiar with team charters. If you need to address behaviors, do it collectively. You could use a start, stop, keep exercise in a team meeting, but let the team define how they work best together. Focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. This creates buy-in and ownership instead of top-down mandates. So, those are the 5 things you absolutely need to know before you start as a new manager. Now, you have 2 options. You can take everything I've shown you in this video and try to figure out yourself to your specific situation, navigating the politics, managing your stakeholders, and dealing with all the surprises that are going to come up in the first 90 days. Or you can click the first link in the description, book a free strategy call with me, and we'll create your personalized new manager game plan together. We'll decode the specific challenges you're facing, design your leadership foundation using the exact frameworks I've used with Fortune 500 executives, and give you a clear roadmap so you don't waste months figuring this out the hard way.